Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anand.
And my name's Rizwan.
Welcome back to Crime Scene. Today, we'll be diving deep into the story of the Milwaukee Monster, also known as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Let's not waste any time and let's get started.
So, Rizwan, tell the millions of people online, who is Jeffrey Dahmer?
Jeffrey Dahmer was born in Milwaukee on May 21st, 1960, to Lionel and Joyce Dahmer. He was a very energetic boy until the age of 4, when a traumatic and painful recovery to his double hernia surgery. He was never the same again.
From a young age, Dahmer developed a fascination with animal bones and studied how to be clear with them. As a child, he collected bugs, insects, skulls, and bones of small animals and preserved them in jars of formaldehyde.
By his early teens, he was disengaged, tense, and largely friendless. Dahmer claims that his compulsion towards necrophilia and murder began around the age of 14, but it appears that the breakdown of his parents' marriage and divorce a few years later might have been the catalyst for turning these thoughts into actions. His parents' numerous arguments and constant tension in the house made Dahmer question the solidity of his life and family.
One factor in particular that led to his downfall in his life was that he started drinking at the young age of 14. This is a key point because by the age of 18, he went out of control with his drinking habits, eventually leading him into dropping out of Ohio State University. After his father found out about him dropping out of university, he insisted that he enlists into the army.
Jeffrey Dahmer enlisted into the army in December 1978. Unfortunately, his drinking problems still kept with him, leading to his discharge in 1981. In the same year, he was arrested for disorderly conduct and moved to his grandmother's house.
In 1978, Dahmer committed his first murder at the age of 18. His victim was a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks, who he lured back into his home, offering him a drink. Dahmer then bludgeoned Stephen Hicks to death before dismembering his body and burying the remains in his backyard.
Over the next 13 years, Dahmer would kill a total of 17 young men, most of whom were African American or Asian. Dahmer drugged his victims with sedatives before strangling them to death. He would then engage in acts of necrophilia, dismemberment, and cannibalism.
Dahmer said,
I don't know why I did it. I couldn't help myself. The urge to kill was overwhelming.
In 1991, Dahmer's reign of terror came to an end when one of his intended victims managed to escape and alert the authorities. When police arrived at Dahmer's apartment, they discovered a house of horrors with body parts thrown all throughout the residence.
Dahmer was arrested and charged with multiple counts of murder, necrophilia, and cannibalism. In 1992, he was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms in prison, where he'd spend the remaining days in solitary confinement.
On November 28, 1994, Dahmer was bludgeoned to death by a fellow inmate in a prison bathroom. His life of depravity and violence came to a brutal end, but the scars he left on the lives of his victims and their families lives on to this day. So Anand, what are your thoughts on Jeffrey Dahmer?
I think Jeffrey Dahmer was disgusting, gross. I don't know. Words can't really express what I'm thinking about him. But yeah, cannibalism, all the bad stuff he did. But one thing I'm thinking of is, I don't know how they didn't catch him easier. There's a lot of evidence towards his behavior, murders, all that. So yeah. So Rizwan, I have a question for you. What do you think drove Dahmer to his horrible crimes?
I think that the mix of psychological issues, including his horrible upbringing with his parents arguing a lot and divorcing, led to him doing this heinous crime. In addition, I think that the double hernia surgery also led to it.
Yeah, I think
because
it played a big role and impact to why he's thinking like that.
Because he was just a normal kid until that dumb surgery, and and his life foreshadowed after it.
Yeah, so many like lives were lost. Like
Yeah, man.
I don't know, it's crazy. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, Rizwan, or is that it?
Do you think he deserved to die in prison?
I don't think anyone deserves to get murdered, but for what he did, I don't know, man. It's a little it's a little crazy what he did. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Bro, like, he ate people, he dismembered them. He said he felt close, like, with the dismembered body parts.
The reason he murdered people was because he just wanted to be with them. That's crazy. I don't know.
Bro,
Like, that's
he's
so weird.
not in the right state of mind, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should, even if he lived, he should never see daylight ever again.
I agree. Yeah. So let's go get some other students' thoughts on Jeffrey Dahmer and ask some questions to them. Hello, crime scene audience. I have an interviewee here from David Thompson Secondary. He's probably one of the smartest people at the school. And yeah, let's get started. So, sir, what are your thoughts on Jeffrey Dahmer?
Jeffrey Dahmer, man, I'm pretty sure we've all seen the documentation on Netflix. It's really interesting. Surprised he got away with that many kills. It's truly a bizarre, like, murder scene, murder case, everything.
Okay, second question for you. What are your thoughts on Conorak, the boy who went to the police but got returned to Jeffrey Dahmer?
It's a bit bizarre how the cops didn't do any background check for him and just returned him straight back to him as, like, his son. It's a bit crazy because I'm pretty sure the kid was drugged too, so he couldn't really do much. It's crazy.
And lastly, what are your thoughts on his death? How he got bludgeoned by a prison inmate?
I mean, it's well-deserved. He killed so many people, and it's just that his death is just, it's well-deserved in my opinion.
All right, thank you for your time. Hello, David Thompson Secondary. We have our second interview of the day here. The fellow student from David Thompson, Navdeep Kaler. So, Navdeep, what are your thoughts on Jeffrey Dahmer?
Well, my thoughts on Jeffrey Dahmer is that he's a very bad person, right? But I feel like he might have had things mentally messed up with him, right? But I also find it very interesting that he got away with so many murders, as I feel like a lot of the murders were kind of obvious he did them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Second question for you. What are your thoughts on him being a cannibal?
Well, obviously, that's very disgusting. I could never imagine just another person eating the flesh and meat off of another person. It just really grosses me out.
Yeah. Lastly, what are your thoughts on him drinking at the age of 14?
Well, I actually didn't know that before, and I feel like that might have affected with him, like, mentally, his brain chemistry. I feel like that might have messed it up from drinking at such a young age.
Yeah.
And that probably could have led to him doing the murders.
Yep. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Tune in next time to listen to John Wayne Gacy, the Killer Clown.